What's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and today I want to review the new Masterpiece Optimus Prime. This is the MP10 version, the new mold for Optimus. Smaller than the old mold, but definitely a good figure in its own right. Just for a quick comparison, before we get things started, I'll show you the old one up against the new one. This is the old one over here. That's the reissue of the MP1, the very first one. That's from Takara. This is the American version of the MP10 Optimus right here. He, as far as I can tell, there's only a couple minor color differences on maybe the rover and a couple other little details, but overall, he's basically the exact same version as the Takara one, which is way more expensive, so I do suggest you buy the American Hasbro version. But here he is. He stands at just under 10 inches tall, and for some comparative purposes, this one stands almost exactly 12 inches tall, so this one's definitely bigger. You can look at his review separately. If you follow the link at the top right there, you can see his review. But we're not going to talk about him, we're going to talk about the new one for this video. And this one is definitely a great figure, even though he is smaller. He's got a lot going on. This is going to be kind of a detailed and long review, so I apologize for taking up so much of your time, but you don't have to watch the video if you don't want to. So here he is. He's got tons of stuff to go with him, so I'll get to that in a minute, but first I just want to talk about this figure as he is. Okay, he is like 99% plastic. There's not a whole lot of die-cast parts on him. In fact, I'm not entirely sure if there's anything die-cast on him other than the matrix that's in his chest, and I'll show you that in a minute. It's hard to say. This might be, but I don't think it is. I don't really think there's a whole lot of die-cast going on, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, it doesn't really matter what the material is. If you ask me, it all depends on the figure itself. So let's talk about paint application. There's really nothing wrong with any of the paint application on this figure. A lot of the parts are molded in the color they're supposed to be molded in, but the parts that are painted, like the yellow on his arms, or the Autobot logo there, or his face, everything looks really good. It's nice and crisp. We have the nice chrome detailing on the chest and the smokestacks and down here on his legs. So everything really looks the way it's supposed to. It's a great looking figure overall. Paint app's solid. I can talk about the paint app on the trailer in a minute, but for now, like I said, let's just talk about this guy. As far as the sculpt goes, he's a little bit more cartoon accurate. I think that's what they were going for with this guy. The face in particular, compared to the old Optimus face, that one's a little blocky, you know, kind of not really what the cartoon looked like. This one looks a lot more like that, like the old original cartoon. So I think that's what they're going for, and I think they succeeded. It looks really good overall. Great proportions. I do think the legs could be a little bit longer, but definitely not a big deal. A lot to talk about on this guy. Okay, let's talk about articulation. The head has a forward-backward motion, no side-to-side rocking, but it does swivel. So really, I mean, you don't need to rock it side to side. You have plenty of motion there. That's just fine. The little earpieces do have swivel on them. They always do that, and I'm not sure why. I don't remember them ever moving in any of the cartoons or anything, but they always are posable. So if you want that, it's there. The shoulders have, well, this is part of the transformation really, but it does come in handy when posing him, that lateral movement there. But it does have a pivot where it looks like it would right there, and then they rotate. Of course, if you want to bring the arm out, you have to pop this out farther and then do it. It's somewhat limited, but you can still get some decent poses out of him. And he's definitely got a decent range of motion, so that's good. He does have a swivel in the bicep, so that gives him plenty of range of motion for the arm. Single jointed elbow, the wrist rotates, and the fingers are articulated. These three fingers down here are one solid chunk, but they do have a hinge in there. And then the index finger actually has an extra piece of articulation, and then the knuckle hinge. One thing to point out though is that extra piece of articulation does not have one of the steel pins in it in the finger, so the finger does pop off very easily, so make sure you don't lose that piece while posing your figure. Or playing with it if you're going to play with it. Make little pew pew sounds or something, I don't know. That's not my thing, but if that's your thing, that's fine. As far as the torso goes, all he has is the waist swivel, not much else to expect, and more often than not Transformers don't have that, so it's definitely a nice feature. He doesn't have any ab crunch or anything like that, but like I said, that's to be expected. As far as the hips go, he's got standard hip articulation. If you look, it's just the he's got a ratchet in there going forward and backward, the thigh swivel built in, and then it can also come out pretty far. So he's got pretty good range of motion for the hips. Not maybe as much as it could have been, but I think it looks really good and it's quite functional, so no problems there. It is nice and heavy ratcheted, so you don't have to worry about him falling over too easily. As far as the knee goes, it's just really that one single joint right there, but you get a full 90 degrees out of it, so that's plenty. It does go forward too, no need for that though. And it has a swivel at the top of the boot, or the bottom of the knee, whatever you want to call that. So plenty range of motion. And then, like I said, it has a thigh swivel built in too, so the legs are fairly articulated, pretty good I think. Now the feet, they're pretty good, but they're not as good as they could be. You have a little bit of ankle motion there, but no toe motion. You can't bring this up at all. All you can do is fold it down as part of the transformation. So if you planned on having him kind of have his leg back and his toe bent, you can't do that. This is all you're going to get out of that. It does have a little bit of a rock to it, so that's nice, but there's no toe articulation. So it could have been a little better there. I don't see why they couldn't just let this come up more. They already have the joint there. They could have just given us a little bit of extra clearance, but it's still good. If you can look, I'm sure you can because you're looking at the video, there is a little plate that covers the wheels, so that looks really good the way they did that. He's got the little shin things on there. Really everything looks good on this guy. The windows are slightly tinted. They're tinted blue, so that looks pretty nice. These are clear plastic. Just overall, it's a really great looking figure. The smokestacks, as you can see, they're nice and long. In vehicle mode, they're down like that, but they extend for robot mode, so that's cool. And as I mentioned before, he has the matrix inside of his chest, which is pretty nicely done. This part opens on both sides. Then you flip this open. Then you have to flip that little black piece open right there. Now, for me, I have big hands. I don't know if it's easy for other people. I cannot get that open without using some sort of help, like a knife or something. But you can open that, and then the matrix is in there. It does not light up like the other figure does. If you want to see that, go look at that review. But this doesn't light up. You can get it out. It's kind of tricky though. What you have to do is push in on one side to pop the other side out, and then kind of grab a hold of it and just wiggle it free carefully so you don't screw up the paint. So it's not necessarily the best implementation, but it is included, so that's nice. And this, as I said before, is die cast. It is steel, or whatever die cast is, I'm not sure, to be honest. And then it does have the clear plastic gem on the inside, so that's pretty nice. Very metallic and very cool looking. So definitely a nice feature. I suppose most people are either going to leave it in the chest though, or just have him hold on to it. So being die cast really doesn't matter. It's cool, but for me, I don't really care what it's made out of as long as it is made well, and it is. So that's the basic robot mode. He does have a couple of nice extra features, as almost all of the Optimuses do. He's got a tiny bit of a backpack, but it really doesn't even look like one, so that's fine with me. He's very sleek and slender, so that's good. But this piece comes down here, and inside of that you have his ion blaster, as the instructions call it. I just call it a blaster, or ion cannon. I don't know what they call it. But so that's how it is in his back, and then you press this little gray button right here and it turns into his gun, which is pretty cool. It's black, so a lot of people I think are going to appreciate that. If you don't know why I'm saying that, then it doesn't matter to you anyway, but if you watch the other review for the other Optimus, you'll know why I said that. He's got a little slit in his hand there and a little notch on the gun so that he can hold it better. It snaps into his hand, even though his fingers can hold it without that notch. Due to the articulation, it's nice to have it snap into place. So he's got the gun there, which is pretty much perfect proportion, perfect scale, perfect size. And even though it does have that transformation to it, it's pretty solid. I mean, it looks good, and I'm pretty happy with it. I like that they tucked it into his back, so I'm pretty happy with that. He also has, where is it? My cat stole it. He's got the axe. Okay, there it is. There's part of it. Darn cats. Okay, if I can get it out. There it is. Okay, so he's got the axe, his Energon Axe. It's kind of big. We'll talk about the axe first by itself. It is translucent. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of speckling in the clear orange. I don't know how they do that. I don't know if it's supposed to be there or if they just screwed up in the application or what. I figured they were just molded into clear, but since it's got that speckling, I'm not positive. But either way, it's sculpted pretty well. It has this kind of energy burst effect at the top, and the hand part has these spiky pieces. It's pretty cool. It does swivel, so you can put it on his hand and pose him however you want. And I'll show you how that works. So instead of like the old one where it snapped in where the hand was, this one kind of goes right over the hand. So you make the hand into a fist, and then this slides on. I don't know how well you can see that. It's got a recess in there, and it slides on over the fist. Like that. So it's kind of good. It does look a little bit awkward, but I'm kind of like it that you don't have to take the hand away completely. And the axe is pretty good size, so that's nice. I do like that. So it's nice to have accessories, and he does have some. Those are really the only accessories for robot mode that I think are necessary. As far as accessories actually go, he does have, of course, the trailer that turns into various things. In this case, it's like a repair station or battle station, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And he can stand in there. Let's move the camera back so you can see what I'm talking about. So he can stand inside that thing, and his axe can go in here, if I can put it in there right. So his axe goes in there, and if you don't have his gun on his back, you can put his gun in over here. So he's got this little battle station, and this thing's all articulated. It's got all this motion and movement, and then this thing comes out and has a claw on it, and this moves and spins, and this hatch opens up so you can put Optimus inside. I'm just kidding, of course. I can't get it open. But there we go. And that does open up, and that's because it comes with Spike, and he can go inside there, and he can man his battle station. So that's kind of cool, I guess. I probably won't ever use this as anything but a trailer, but if some people want to, they can. So that's pretty cool. And I'll show you some more features of this thing once we get everything in vehicle mode. I guess I can show you this real quick. It comes with the rover also, and he fits in there just nifty. Well, while I'm here, I might as well show you. This can pop down on the rover. You can fold that back, and you can put the cannon, Optimus's cannon, in there. So he's got some more firepower. And then the rest I will show you once I get him transformed. So let me do that, and then we'll talk about vehicle mode. Okay, so I have Optimus transformed into vehicle mode. And I have to say, it's really, really well done. He's completely compact, and all the pieces fit together very nicely. The only real gripe I have is that you can see his crotch or hip section pretty obviously from the robot mode. But other than that, it's really, really nicely put together. The tires are rubber. They have at least some kind of tread on them. And the wheels have the chrome. So overall, it's just really nicely put together. It looks great. It rolls, and it does have the trailer. I'll show you that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about the trailer when it's not a trailer. Just like you could open it up and use it as whatever you want to use it for in robot mode, it opens up in vehicle mode as well. Put these flaps down, and you can use it for whatever you want. This thing obviously still does everything it does. This thing is still what it is. It has another function, I'll show you that in a minute. Couple extra little features on this area where the axe was stored in robot mode. You can flip that up, and he can fit in there like it's some kind of little weapons station. Same thing on this side. This one flips up, and he can fit over there. And of course you can have Optimus pull inside and, you know, do repairs or something. I don't know. I wouldn't ever use it like this, but it is all there, so that's pretty cool. So let's put it back into the actual trailer mode, and I'll show you the last few little details, and we'll call it a wrap. First thing to note is that before you actually put it in the trailer mode, you can do one other option with it. You can fold these little flaps down on both sides, one at the top there where my thumb is, and then one over here. They're really tight, so be careful. So you can fold those down, and then this thing can fit through those holes so that when you fold it up to put the trailer back together, there's an extra little. You fold these in, by the way, and if you'll notice, when you fold these in, those little pedestal things collapse inside itself. So you can close this up. I should have done that first. Okay, so close everything up, and then as the trailer, you can have this little gun thing sitting on top with all of its stuff. Personally, I don't like that, so I would definitely leave it on the inside. Now, take a note that it is kind of tricky to get the trailer open, even though it doesn't have too much of a latch. It's kind of a hassle to get it open. It doesn't want to open sometimes, which is okay because that means it's not going to pop open. But either way, I would leave that thing in there because I don't care for it a whole lot. Don't forget to flip open those little gap things, those fillers. I forgot, so I have to do that again. Okay, so trailer doors are open if you want them to be. You can close them or not. You can still use the little ramp, which makes sense, obviously. You can fit deluxe class figures in there, or Transformers in there in vehicle mode, no problem. The little rover fits in there, no problem. So that's pretty cool. They did a good job with that. Close it all up. You can lift these up, obviously, get rid of those, so that the trailer can function as a trailer. Now you have two options for that. One is you can use the rover, flip this thing around, and that snaps on to the trailer hitch. So that works like that, and it actually does line up just fine. It picks the rover up a little bit if you push from the trailer, but if you go like that, it's just fine, and it rotates and everything. No problem there. So that's the extent of the uses of the rover. So we'll just set him aside. And then of course the trailer fits onto Optimus himself. It snaps into those little grooves. If I can see what I'm doing, let's see. There we go. So there it is, there's Optimus and his trailer, which is just about as good as it gets, I think. Bring the camera back so you can see. It's just about perfect. Really the only complaint I have for the trailer, everything looks perfect, it looks great. Could use a little bit of paint down here, I think, since it's black and this is all blue. It just really looks kind of unfinished. If they had a little bit of silver on there, it would look really good. But the tires are all rubber, the wheels are all chrome, and it rolls nicely. And it displays well. Personally, I'd probably keep him in robot mode just because it's a nicer display piece, but the trailer is a very nice touch, and it works really, really well. Looks great with Optimus. So definitely a great figure. I highly recommend it. Let me know what you guys think. If you want to check out the review for the other Optimus, there's the link at the top again. The older version of the Masterpiece Optimus. And let me know which one you guys like better. I think they both have their own merits, so I can't say which one I prefer. I like them both equally and differently. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more videos and some other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.